Alcohol may soon be available to purchase at OU sporting events. Another Kavanaugh accuser comes forward, and OU student parking is over capacity. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Shireen Hashem.
And I'm Kyle Payne. The OU Undergraduate Congress passed a resolution calling for the sale of alcohol at Gaylord Memorial Stadium. The bill comes after President Gallagher said at a Board of Regents meeting earlier this month that the sale of beer at sporting events was being considered.
SGA Secretary Richard Holt thinks the implementation of alcohol in the stadium would have a positive impact on game days in Norman.
I think we're all generally under the impression and aware that people drink before they go to games. People drink at games, maybe they smuggle in stuff. And I think that if we, make it a little more controlled, make it a little safer for people, which I think this intends to do, game days will be a lot better.
The bill passed on Tuesday by a vote of 25-3 with 2 members abstaining. It will go to the Graduate Student Congress at OU administration for approval.
And as for the rest of the state, October 1st is soon approaching, bringing a change to Oklahoma's liquor laws. OU Nightly's Jantzen McGhee tells us why not everyone welcomes the new rules.
Oklahoma is one of only 5 states left selling low-point beer, but this is about to change. On October 1st, it will be legal to sell full-strength beer and wine not only in liquor stores, but in grocery stores as well. The transition, however, has not been an easy one. Thunderbird Liquor owner Terrence Heckart said that this is something he has never seen in his 32 years of business.
It's a nightmare. In restaurants, I have friends who own bars, restaurants, other liquor stores. The salespeople, there's no one happy. No one at all happy with this except maybe Walmart.
Stores like Walmart are attracting large importers and distributors due to their large volume in their orders, which is leaving small mom-and-pop liquor stores scrambling for the scraps.
But we've always had pretty good service. We've had delivery Monday through Friday from all our distributors. Now, my favorite distributor out of Tulsa, who I'm in the top 3% of their deliveries, they're going to deliver to me twice a week. The other ones have dropped me down to 1 day a week.
With large distributors favoring shipments to big box stores like Homeland, Target, and Walmart, the days for small mom-and-pop liquor stores may be numbered. Consumers will have to make up their own minds on October 1st. Jantzen McGhee, OU Nightly.
Liquor stores will also be able to sell cold beer for the first time.
News from Washington now, and a 3rd woman is now accusing Supreme Court nominee of sexual misconduct. Ashley Eddy joins us in News Center with what the additional accuser is saying. Ashley?
Shireen, this 3rd woman, Julie Swetnick, is saying Brett Kavanaugh displayed sexually aggressive behavior at alcohol-fueled parties while they were both students at Georgetown Preparatory School. The accusations date back to the 1980s when they were both in high school. Swetnick claims Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge were present at a party where she was drugged and gang raped, but does not identify either of them as her attacker. President Donald Trump is defending Kavanaugh and says he still supports his nominee for Supreme Court after this 3rd claim. And the search for a missing 6-year-old autistic boy, Maddox Rich, continues today. The FBI is now offering a $10,000 reward for any information in this case. The little boy went missing 5 days ago in North Carolina when he took off running during a walk around the lake.
I just want my baby home, please. Whatever you can do. Maddox is my whole world and my reason for living.
Maddox is nonverbal, which complicates the search. Authorities have employed dogs, drones, and partially drained an 80-acre lake to better see its shoreline to try to get some answers. And Shireen, General Electric, once America's most valuable company, is in sharp decline, now worth less than $100 billion.
In big temperature drops across the state, Marisa Nuzzo joins us with just how dramatic the drop was.
Yeah, we had a cold front come through yesterday, and along this yellow line, we can see exactly where it was 24 hours ago right now. We had a 22-degree temperature decrease here in Norman and a 33-degree change down in Lubbock due to that cold front. And the temperatures outside right now are pretty chilly. 63 here in Norman and a little bit cooler out in the eastern portion of the state where they are still having rainfall. So I have all the details coming up on this fall weather pattern, and we do have your allergy index report coming up.
Normanites could find themselves walking more if the city doesn't foot the bill on the public transportation efforts. OU Nightly's Zach Brown has more on the story.
The university runs both campus and public transportation routes in Norman. Due to high cost, OU was looking to turn the public side of CART over to the city.
What we're projecting right now, if we don't either eliminate services or get funding from the city of Norman, then we're going to operate at about a $240,000 loss.
There is a risk that public transportation around Norman is diminished, or even worse, canceled altogether. This leaves locals in a bind and could make it extremely difficult to get around the city and leaves options limited.
Well, I live close to a Walmart, but then I do like to shop more than at Walmart, so it would really limit me because the only other thing is places I can walk to.
So if they got rid of one or two, let alone anything more than that, it would be huge to me. More walking, I can't walk that well. So.
No final decisions have come as to who will be providing transportation in the near future. However, the city of Norman doesn't anticipate a period without it.
It's hard to predict, but I do not think either party wants that to happen. We all recognize that public transportation is important to the university and to the city, and so we're all going to be working to figure out how to transfer that service.
OU no longer wants to provide us public transportation any longer, which could mean a reduction in services. This could mean longer waits at bus stops or even longer walks. Zach Brown, OU Nightly.
A meeting with the city is expected within the next 2 months. OU students and faculty know full well how tough it is to find a parking on campus. Wait till you hear what happened this semester that's making it even harder to find an open spot.
Plus, Oklahoma's gubernatorial candidates take the stage for debate number 1. Parking at OU is a topic that is widely criticized by students. OU Parking released its official numbers for the fall semester, explaining why parking on campus is as crowded as ever. Whether it's housing or commuter lots, students are constantly searching for open parking spots while there are many staff spots available. OU Parking released sale numbers for this semester after complaints by students piled on. 6,098 commuter passes were sold this semester. There are only 3,022 spaces. That leaves 3,076 commuters without parking spots.
I mean, I'm pretty upset that they've decreased the amount of parking spaces and increased the amount that each parking pass is. And then also they're overselling passes, which is just pretty ridiculous.
OU Parking says they will oversell commuter parking spaces because they believe not every student is trying to park on campus at the same time.
Tulsa attorney Ron Durbin has filed a petition against Broken Arrow for its attempt to adopt its own regulations on medical marijuana. Officials attempted to create new permit fees and restrictions on growing marijuana. The city officials from Broken Arrow and also violated Open Meetings Act by consulting before the city council meetings to develop their new rules. On September 18th, Broken Arrow's city council voted to impose a $2,500 fine on growing marijuana indoors. And Taitum Wilson now joins us with more on Stitt and Edmondson's first debate. Taitum?
Republican Kevin Stitt and Democrat Drew Edmondson squared off on Monday for the first Oklahoma gubernatorial debate. One topic that got special attention was tax policies, particularly those pertaining to education funding. Both agreed that education needs more funding and teachers need raises, but differed on how to achieve that. Stitt continued to stick to an anti-tax platform, criticizing Mary Fallon's decision to increase taxes on motor fuel, tobacco, and cigarettes.
To me, was again, it was tying it to unsustainable revenue. It was just going to put a Band-Aid on this problem, Chris.
Edmondson, on the other hand, thinks further taxing those items and removing tax breaks for the wealthy can help fund education. When asked how he would get the legislator on board with another tax increase, Edmondson said he would bring a vote to the people.
Well, if the legislature won't do it, we may have to submit them to a vote of the people, and I'm prepared to do that.
One noticeable absence was Libertarian candidate Chris Powell, who wasn't invited to the debate hosted by the Oklahoman. Democratic state congressional candidate Tom Stites has challenged his Republican rival to a shooting contest. Stites, who's running for Oklahoma's House District 2, says this will show voters who is better suited to support Second Amendment rights.
So here's my friendly challenge to my opponent. Dear sir, in the spirit of fun and sportsmanship, I invite and challenge you to grab your guns if you have any and meet me somewhere. We can shoot targets and find out who is the most skilled and experienced with these awesome firearms.
Now, there's always been a lot of debate surrounding the Second Amendment, but I don't think I've ever heard of settling it between two politicians this way.
I've never heard of something like that, but it's actually pretty funny.
I'm glad that we're past the point of duels, because that would probably really be the test.
I feel like this is right underneath.
For the Second Amendment. Yeah, this is probably right underneath.
Thanks, Taitum.
An OU Fit and Rex app now helps students register for classes before they fill up. Learn more about the app's new feature next.
And Marisa Nuzzo has more on this rain and when it will go away.
The rain is slowly moving off to eastern Oklahoma, and I will have all the details coming up next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. We've had a very rainy start to the day, and most of the rain has moved off to the eastern portion of the state. It is clearing up here in Norman. We do have some lingering clouds, but it looks like the rain is done here, and it is going to be done for the rest of the week. These are the rain totals for the past 24 hours. 1.1 inches here in Norman, and an inch out in Lawton. A little bit less up towards the northern part of the state, but this is even more rain to add to the rainy fall we've been having. So this is our wind forecast, and it's going to tell us a little bit about what to expect in our temperatures. And the wind we have from the north is from the cold front that we had yesterday, and the natural flow of our wind usually comes from the south. So it's trying to shift, and it's trying to come out of the south. And overnight, there's going to be that battle between the north and the south, and some of the northerly winds are going to persist through the morning, but then throughout the day on Thursday, those southerly winds will dominate and come back, except we do have this disturbance out in the Panhandle, and that's due to another low pressure that is going to come our way. We can see that circulation just right over Guyman on Friday afternoon. And don't worry, this low pressure is not going to be bringing any rain. It's mostly going to be switching the winds and bringing some cooler wind up in the northern portion of the state. And then Saturday, we're back to our southerly flow and our normal temperatures. And all this wind is kicking up lots of allergens. We have high allergens in grass, weeds, and mold, specifically with ragweed. And your lows tonight a little cooler due to that cold front, 50 degrees, not quite reaching the 40s here in Norman, but 40s in the northern part of the state. Walking out the door tomorrow, 51 at 8 a.m. and heating up to about the 70s, and that trend will continue for the rest of the state as well. And then again, tomorrow, a beautiful fall day with sunny skies and a little bit of a warm up for Friday, but those lows at night will continue that fall trend with those cooler temperatures in the 50s, and our lows are going to stay pretty nice in the 60s for the rest of the week and heating up in the low 80s. So it's our typical fall pattern where we have the fight between the warm, moist air from the south and the cool, dry air from the north, and that's just going to continue for the rest of the fall.
I'm just glad it's not raining. I think when the weather's like this, it's the best time of the year for weather, but the rain sort of puts a big damper on
Yeah, we don't really have to worry about any weather for the game this weekend, so that's nice.
Thank you.
Don't be disappointed by being turned away from fitness classes at OU's Sarkey Family Fitness anymore. Fit and Rec released a new feature on its app to pre-register for classes. Last year, there were more than 70 classes a week, and they were all first come, first serve. There was a limited number of equipment and space available in each class.
I did not know this app existed, but I would probably use it because I live off campus, and it would be really convenient to book classes ahead of time. So when you plan your day, they're already set for you.
For now, the only classes available to book on the app are F45, which are group workouts that involve no equipment. Fit and Rec plans to add more classes like cycling, yoga, and bar really soon.
And Meridith Mulkey joins us with a breakdown of OU's conference home opener. Meridith?
You got it, Kyle. The team is preparing to get back to Big 12 play this weekend against Baylor, and we'll have the Whiner of the Week featuring one of our favorite former Sooners. Sports is straight ahead. The number 6 Sooners are preparing to take on the Baylor Bears this Saturday at home. William Soule is here to break down the defense and give us the scoop on Clemson's new QB1.
Thanks, Meridith. The Sooners defense spent 44 minutes on the field in a grueling game against Army this weekend. This unit is excited to get back to the familiar style of Big 12 play.
Well, there's certainly no carryover from last week, and that's probably a good thing, unless they come out and run the option, transitioning from Army into Baylor. So we put that game, behind us.
Actually, I'm pretty happy about it. I mean, obviously, you don't play a triple option team every week the way that we do, so I'm pretty happy to get back to what we're used to. It's something that we don't see every week. So, I mean, I'm happy to get back to something that we're used to, and I'm just happy to get it back on the field and play with my brothers.
Definitely good to get back into Big 12 play. I mean, Army triple option is definitely different. Nothing you see like in the Big 12, but it's finally good to be back in the conference play. I'd say the energy was pretty well, but it definitely has to translate through this week too. The energy, the communication, and trusting your job each play.
And in other college football news, Clemson has named Trevor Lawrence their starting quarterback. The true freshman has impressed in 4 appearances this season, throwing 600 yards and 9 touchdowns. Incumbent starter Kelly Bryant has since announced his intention to transfer out of the program and calls the QB switch a slap in the face. Clemson takes on the surprisingly undefeated Syracuse Orange at home on Saturday. And we will have to wait and see if the change at quarterback works as well for them as it has for Alabama. Meridith?
Thanks, William. OU basketball is back in action as the men's team held their first official practice yesterday. Many familiar Sooners will be returning to the court this season, but Trae Young will not be one of them. While Trae is out in Atlanta, seniors Christian James, Rashard Odoms, and Jamuni McNeese will be holding it down here in Norman. The Sooners' first exhibition game is November 1st against Pittsburgh State. And the men weren't the only ones getting an early start. The women's basketball team also had their first practice of the season yesterday. With the loss of 3 starters from last year, head coach Sherry Cole is ready to get started and welcome 7 new members to the team. And a new season means new leaders, and Cole is expecting all of her players to step up.
Leading is doing the right thing at any given moment in time. So we'll have a bunch of different leaders over the course of a day, over the course of the season. A lot of candidates for that, and it's not exclusive. Anybody can apply and anybody can take that job.
And Wine Wednesday means it's also time for the Whiner of the Week. This week's Whiner is Fox's Jason McIntyre. Last week, this loser went on Colin Cowherd's show to rip Baker Mayfield for being selfish after Baker led the Browns to their first win in 2 years. He said Baker was avoiding teammates and only talking on his phone. In the meantime, Mayfield was actually getting the game ball from Coach Hugh Jackson. Oh, and spending time throwing t-shirts to Browns fans who stuck around long enough after the win. So stop whining, Jason. Guys, unfortunately, I think no matter how well Baker does, there's always going to be somebody who has something negative to say about him.
I'm not sure why he doesn't think everyone probably at least checked their phone for a second after the game. And I mean, let him have his fun. People probably, all of his boys and his family were hyping him up after that big win. I say just let him text.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree.
And one beach activity is going pro in Virginia.
Together right now over me.
I'm Talon Forbis at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Flu season is approaching, and now is a great time to get your shot. Goddard Health Services will be offering free flu shots in October. These will be available on October 2nd, 3rd, 16th, and the 17th from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention stated that an estimated 80,000 Americans died last winter due to the flu. For more updates, be sure to follow OU Nightly on social media. Back to you.
No matter how good you think you are at building sandcastles, chances are you're no match for the sculptors showing off their skills in Virginia this week.
32 competitors from 11 countries are facing off at the Neptune's Festival International Sand Sculpting Championship in Virginia Beach. The official building process starts Friday and runs through Sunday. Viewing is available until October 7th. And Marisa joins us with a little more on how this rain has affected the drought in Oklahoma.
Yes, last week some parts of Oklahoma got over 15 inches of rain, and it has cured the drought monitor in some portions of the state. And they will update the drought monitor tomorrow, so Jenna will keep everyone updated on how the drought will change by tomorrow.
Thanks, Marisa. Thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.